Welcome to Gym Bag Talk Podcast, episode number 2. I am your host, Ben, and I am joined here by the lovely Vasiliy.
How's it going, man?
And my very good friend, Roman.
Hey, how are you?
Doing good, man. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So, all of us here are big Duck fans. Unfortunately, they didn't have a game this week. They had a bye. They're going to be playing Cali next week, who are 4-1. Looks like they did drop out of the rankings when they got blown out by Arizona.
I mean, it felt like a blowout watching it. The score was kind of close at the end. It really feels like a blowout just because of the fact they lost their quarterback. What really sucks about this game is that it was supposed to be a really important game for Oregon. They played number 16 ranked at the time, Auburn. Now you would have played a number 13, 14 ranked maybe with Cal. And then they just get, they lose. And now Oregon doesn't really have a tough schedule anymore. And this hurts them in the long run. So, again, 1 week at a time, maybe teams lose in front of you. Clemson had a really close game. I don't know if anyone watched that against North Carolina.
I saw a little bit of that, yeah.
Didn't they win by like a field goal or a point?
No, they went for 2 at the end when they could have kicked the field goal and went to overtime. But I guess, that's what Carolina's all about. And they went for 2 and they lost. But anyways, we'll see what happens with Oregon. They should easily take care of business. If it's a close game, that's kind of worrisome. But
yeah, exactly. They dropped out their rankings. Well, California did. So now if they did pound on the California Bears, it doesn't look that good because they're not ranked. But if they were 17th and Oregon beat them handily, that would have looked great. Would have moved us up 1 or 2 spots.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And hopefully they do move up because ranked teams do play ahead of them this week. So it's going to be a fun week to watch football. That's for sure.
My take on that is weird. When California lost, they're 4-1 still. They were ranked 15, dropped out of the rankings. That's kind of weird to me, dropping 10 spots.
They just don't like the Pac-12. I think that's the biggest thing. No one likes the Pac-12. If you're not in the SEC where you had Notre Dame lose to Georgia and they only dropped, 3 spots?
I agree. California, though, I think should have been still ranked. It would have helped as far as for Oregon's schedule. Would have helped big time if they were still ranked, but that's just kind of...
Well, maybe they got dropped down so quickly because Arizona wasn't ranked at all going into that matchup.
Arizona had a bad loss to Hawaii, too. So, I mean, it all plays. It's all a train effect. But one thing to watch for in the game, Justin Herbert, obviously, but Cali's corners are really good. NFL prototype, so we'll see how he actually does against really good corners.
Yeah.
I still think Oregon wins this by 3 touchdowns. My take on that.
He's going on the over. Okay.
Okay. Well, speaking of important conference games, because that California game wasn't in the conference for the Ducks, but Seattle Seahawks played the Cardinals, which was a really important game to help stage them closer to that number 1 spot for the conference. It wasn't that close of a game. Did you guys catch any of it?
Yeah, we caught the end of it. We didn't really watch the beginning, but
mainly the highlights. But yeah, I thought that was pretty much a win. Win for Seahawks, 100%.
It's good that we aren't really talking about this game because you really shouldn't be talking about the Arizona Cardinals.
Arizona's not that good, just period.
And the fact that we took care of business, went 27-10, and finally the Seahawks had a game where it wasn't decided by a touchdown at the end of the game. It helps, especially when you're going into this week.
Yeah, absolutely. This week they're playing the Rams, which is...
That's the big one.
Yeah.
That is a big one in the division. I think Rams are considered favorites in that division, but if Seattle pulls this one off, this is a huge game, I think, for,
Yeah, it'll establish them in the standings. It'll have that tiebreaker against them. And then it'll put Seattle in a spot to try to take over that number 1 spot. The 49ers look amazing right now. I don't think any team right now, the NFC can...
Which is a surprise. I didn't see San Francisco being this good. But yeah, so far, all their games, they've looked pretty good. And I think they're undefeated. So,
the biggest take here is Seattle's 3 wins have come against teams who have gone overall 1-10. And they barely beat Pittsburgh. They should have lost to Cincinnati. And you beat a really bad Cardinals team. So that's nothing to be proud of. And the best team you played didn't even have their quarterback, and you lost to them. So you lose this game. Seattle Seahawks are looking at an 8-8, 9-7, maybe squeak into the playoffs. You win this game, maybe you're in the top 5 teams in the NFL. Who knows?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. This is a benchmark to see how good the Seahawks are
and
this year.
This early, that's massive.
Yeah. And like I said, that tiebreaker definitely going to help out in the long run. So if Seahawks lose this game, I don't really see them going into the playoffs.
So I like to give my predictions on this. I'll take Seahawks 24-20 on this one.
Oh, wow. On the over again.
Someone Googled that real quick.
Did you know the Seahawks are actually the favorite for that game?
What's that?
They're the favorite to win.
Yeah, they're favored
Are
by.
they? Okay.
One.
Yeah, I think that's still the over on that.
I mean, we'll see, but we'll see. We'll see.
I really want to quickly talk about the Timbers. I'm trying to get into the sport, but I'm getting into a bad spot right now. The season's just about to end. They only have one more game. They have one more game, and if they win, they make it into the playoffs. But they can tie as long as Dallas, I believe. If they lose, Dallas loses, the Timbers are in.
Yes. If Dallas loses or Sporting Kansas City both lose, we're in for sure.
So Portland can still lose and get in. Is that correct?
Yeah. And the sad thing about it is, Ben, ever since you started kind of following the Timbers, they've tied all their games.
I know.
Maybe he needs to stop.
So maybe don't watch this one. Just let's see what happens there.
All right. I mean, it's weird because
Is that on Sunday? That's on Sunday.
Yeah,
I believe at
it's
noon.
Sunday.
Everyone plays at the same time. Correct? Yeah.
And then the weird part is that the Timbers, if I remember right, they went to the finals last year, right?
They did and got absolutely blown out.
Which resembles a lot like the Trailblazers with the Golden State Warriors. They made it to Western Conference Finals, and then they just choked.
Yeah, but I was happy. It saved Rowan and I some money in the long run.
Getting those playoff tickets, which was really spendy. But Trailblazers, did you guys watch any of the media day stuff?
A little bit of highlights here and there. Just read mostly up on what they were saying, but
Well, I watched the Damian Lillard press conference, and most of the stuff that the players say is like really generic, like, "Oh, I'm super happy all these guys are back together," or "I'm really excited to play with this guy," or "I'm here to prove my worth to this new city here." They're all like cookie cutter kind of like his statements. It's super annoying. But Damian Lillard did say one interesting thing. He said, "We got a lot of ball handlers now, and that will open up the floor. And now Damian Lillard can move without the ball." And he said he's doing a lot more catch and shoot. So we have like Hazonia playing with the ball a little bit more. Anthony Simon's gonna be coming off the bench a little bit. So I mean, that's one really upside of this offseason is we lost a couple key players, but we're gonna have a good offensive core out there.
And obviously, we're gonna break that down here in a second in our little Western Conference breakdown here coming up. But for years we've had Coach Stotts and Neil O'Shea saying how much of a ball handler Evan Turner is, and I don't think anything grinded my gears more than that saying. And the fact that we have Anthony Simons, CJ, Mario, Kent, Rodney, all guys who are true ball handlers, can take it up the court, can score on their defender. Instead of, we had Turner who couldn't really score outside 4 feet.
yeah, I mean almost too many ball handlers if you take a look at
Yeah.
their team. They got a bunch of guys that can make their own shots.
Maybe too many ball handlers, not enough defense, which might hurt us, but we'll take a look.
But I do like the white side, the Collins. In
Oh,
the
yeah.
paint. That's I think going to be huge.
Twin Towers 2.0 right there.
The nice thing about having that many ball handlers is you don't know what kind of plays are going to happen. You don't know who's going to be the more dominant player. And it'll be good to see someone creating a shot for CJ or Dame versus them. And it feels like we're going to really need that because there's a lot of teams, like there's 11 or 12 teams you can argue that will have a playoff spot. And by having all those options and everything, it will definitely open up good looks for them.
Oh, yeah, for sure. This is going to be a fun year, but like you said, 11, 12 other teams, so let's take a look.
Yeah, I mean, we teased last week. We're going to talk about the Western Conference and break them down. We invited Roman to grace us with his brilliance.
I like to make some predictions here, so yeah, I'd like to.
We're gonna
start
look at
talking
these at
about
the end of the
teams
year.
Here.
Yeah, so basically what's going to happen, we're going to write down who we think will make it into the playoffs, where they're going to stand in the standings at the end of the year, and go over where we went wrong, where we were right, but mostly where we were wrong.
Yeah, well, for one of us.
And starting with the best team out there, huh?
All the best tanking team. So we're
Probably
gonna,
number one lottery team right here.
yeah, number one lottery.
LaMelo Ball 2020.
So we're gonna start at the bottom and work our way up for the Western Conference, and I think next week we'll do the same thing with Eastern Conference. But
For sure.
we're gonna start off with the Phoenix Suns. I mean, they're literally the worst team in the last 5 years. The last time they went to the playoffs was 2009.
2011, back with Steve Nash was still on the team. Last year he played.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's been a while.
But what do you guys think about the Phoenix Suns in their offseason?
Roman, you want to start us off with this one?
Yeah, so I know their big pickup was Ricky Rubio. Again, the guy's a veteran, good point guard, but the Phoenix Suns, they just every year, same place, tanking, losing games all the time. It doesn't look like they're going to be any better. They do have DeAndre Ayton, I think, Devin Booker, they're probably best players there. But other than that, I feel like they'll be back in the same spot, or one of the worst records.
You don't think Ricky Rubio adds a lot of punch to them?
I don't think he's going to. I mean, again,
Maybe 5 years ago.
he might give them some veteran leadership, but that's about it. I just don't see them getting any better.
Yeah, and to kind of feed off your point, I think the Suns, they were 15th last year. I can see them possibly being an 11th, 12th seed. The main thing is going to be Devin Booker, it's going to be Ayton, and it's going to be Oubre Jr. to create that big three. And the improvement that they're going to have there. And that's the thing, Devin Booker's been in the league for 3 years now. He's improved. He's had 70-point games. He's had 60-point games, but his team still lost those games. DeAndre Ayton went kind of under the radar last year. And you look at their depth chart, I mean, Ricky Rubio, not even a top 10 point guard. You finish off Booker, Oubre Jr., Sarge, and Ayton. And then you look at their bench, and there's absolutely no one.
I forgot Oubre is a great, I think, pickup though.
Oh yeah, signing him, keeping him there.
That's a big pickup.
So if I had to force you guys to put them on the 1 through 15 on the standings at the end of the year, where would you put them?
I have them no higher than 14.
Yeah.
I mean, 14, 15. I mean, maybe one spot movement, but that's about it. I think they'll be worst record again.
No identity. No, I mean, Monty Williams is a pretty good coach. He gets the most out of his guys. No bench. Questionable moves in the offseason. Getting rid of Josh Jackson, trading away TJ Warren for, Cameron Johnson and a Kobo.
Well, yeah, like when I was doing the research here, I was like, holy crap. The Phoenix Suns might have had the worst offseason.
Oh, terrible. D-.
Like,
worse than the Knicks, and that's saying something.
oh, well, I was following them. I'm like, oh, they got like the 6th pick and everything. They traded that away. They went down. I'm like, yeah, not a strong draft class here. Maybe the smarter, get a veteran player. But they got in Dario Saric with some other guy. They drafted the oldest player in the NBA draft, I believe.
Cameron Johnson, yeah.
And he, from all the drafts that I've seen, the mock drafts, he was like 2nd round or undrafted at all. I'm not sure what they were doing there.
I'm convinced they want LaMelo Ball. That's just my opinion, but
I mean, they do need a point guard.
not a knock on Rubio, but yeah.
Yeah. So I actually have them 14th as well. The best I see them doing, let's say Ricky Rubio gets sick and tired of losing. 12th. That's the highest I have them going.
And if Ayton and Booker approve with Oubre, yeah, for
I
sure.
think Ayton's gonna get better. Booker's getting better. So, and then Bridges is also another guy. I think.
Yeah,
it's
that
what,
is very
his second,
true.
third year. I think he's gonna improve quite a bit. So
That's a good point.
And again, they're all gonna get a lot of playing time, so they will be getting better as the season goes on. But safe to say, if you're a Phoenix fan, I'd say jump ship.
Pull that Roman parachute out.
So wait, so if you're not a Warriors fan anymore, who are you cheering for now?
Man, I still haven't.
Still not the Blazers?
I might go to Spurs.
Oh, man. This is in 2004.
Maybe Dallas.
No, okay.
But you know me, I like to jump around as well. So.
Yeah. Well, Dallas is they came in 14th in the Western Conference Finals. I mean, they had some big things happen during the season last year. They got Porzingis. Yeah. They got a couple other players. They signed Steph Curry,
which I like. I really like that.
Not to get confused with the brand name Curry, Steph, but Walmart Steph Curry.
Ooh, hey, come on! Don't diss on my guy.
That bad? Come on, Ben.
he's good. Still.
No, he's good, but you're like, oh, we just signed Curry. What? That's crazy. Oh, it's the.
I'll agree though. He is no Steph, man. He is not Steph at all.
But if you guys had to break down the Dallas Mavericks.
So, I mean, Dallas obviously big storyline is Kristaps, and that's going to be huge for them. Luka Doncic and Porzingis, when that trade happened, I freaked out a little bit because that's going to be so much fun to watch. Rick Carlisle is a really good head coach. Terry Stotts came out of his system. He gets the most out of his guys. When you see a guy like Maxi Kleber getting buckets for the Dallas Mavericks, you know you have a good head coach. This guy shouldn't be getting buckets in the G League. Not a knock on Kleber, but, not the greatest of guys. Picking up Seth Curry for that point guard role. Delon Wright's a really under-the-radar player. They're going to be a fun team with Boban, obviously. But, at the same time, no depth. Tim Hardaway's a great off-the-bench player. But guys like Boban, Kleber, Dwight Powell, not really a serious point guard either besides Doncic and Porzingis. Man, I see them right there with the Suns. I don't see them improving that much at all.
So, my take on this, which I think you'll be shocked, but this is my sleeper team, and for some reason, but I have them going around 8th.
Okay.
So I know. You guys might be thinking I'm crazy, but I'll tell you what. Luka Doncic coming off one of the best rookie campaigns ever. And then you have Kristaps. I think Kristaps, after sitting out a year, bulking up, he is going to be dominating. I think if he stays healthy, he will dominate. And then having that combination of him and Luka, I think that's going to be a sleeper team. You guys might be surprised, but I feel like that could be an 8th seed right there.
So don't get me wrong. Porzingis and Doncic are going to be the most dynamic duo for the next 20 years. I completely agree with that. Just not this year. The
only reason it might not be this year, which I still think they're going to be right around that 8th seed, but Kristaps is going to be on a load management, so he's probably going to sit out 15, 20 games, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be very cautious with him. So I think they still should be a 500 team, and if not, maybe even get to 50 wins, but that's what I see.
Funny enough, I actually have them ranked 10th on my list.
Oh, wow. So that's pretty close.
Yeah, and the reason why is they have Luka, they have Porzingis, and they have Steph Curry. Curry is not the Steph Curry that we know and love.
He did blow up with Dallas before he broke his leg and was supposed to get a massive contract that year. Of course, he ended up breaking his leg, coming to Portland, having a great year here. I can see that. I don't know. I don't think they're deep enough.
Yeah.
What if Porzingis gets hurt? What if Luka gets hurt? They'll compete every night. Rick Carlisle wants to compete. Mark Cuban wants to compete every single night, but we'll see. I see him at 13, 14.
Yeah, so I have them at 10th. I think they're going to do a lot better than people think. I think Porzingis is going to have a chip on his shoulder. I think he will slim down in a year like most NBA players do. They're playing so much. But I believe that over time, Porzingis is going to get worn down. He's coming back after 20 months of not playing. But I think they're going to do a lot better than what people think.
I agree with you. I actually think they might be fighting for that last playoff seed. So we'll see.
So a team I don't have in the playoffs, which a lot of people, I think is 50-50. Half the people think the New Orleans Pelicans will make it to the playoffs, and half the people don't.
On this one, I think people are crazy if they think Pelicans make the playoffs. I highly doubt it. There's a ton of talent on this team. A bunch of young guys. JJ Redick's their only, they got Derek Favors, I guess, but those are the two veterans on that team. I don't think they're that deep, really. They got a great looking starting five. But other than that, I don't see them. I'd probably say 12th.
Really? 12th. So, me looking at this depth chart, I'm a huge college basketball junkie. And when you see guys like Jahlil Okafor, Zion Williamson, Lonzo Ball, Jackson Hayes, these top picks, Brandon Ingram to throw in there, and you have a veteran leader like Drew Holiday, I mean, the guy shut down all the West point guards while dropping 25 in the playoffs. We all remember that New Orleans Pelicans series with the Blazers. It was a 4-0 sweep. Obviously, they didn't compete last year.
But it's a whole nother team now compared to that.
And my take on it is, they traded Anthony Davis away for half of the young core of the Lakers, but those Lakers weren't even healthy. Brandon Ingram has a clotting issue where at any moment he could have a stroke. Lonzo Ball constantly is having ankle injuries.
Injury prone all the time.
And what sure, you can say, oh, he has feet in real shoes now. I mean, he's now prone to ankle injuries.
Was that a knock on Big Baller Brand right there?
The Big Baller Brand is even a brand. Like if you walk into,
I think Lonzo wants no part of the BBB.
well, I mean, it literally ruined his career.
Yeah. I mean, okay. If we're gonna bring up that point, Anthony Davis gets hurt just as much as anyone in the league. There hasn't been a single season he played over 65 games.
Well,
So if you're gonna trade, your best player, your franchise player, for 3 potential All-Stars, that's a good trade. And then still get Zion, still get Jackson Hayes. I just think Drew Holiday is a great leader. He's an All-Star. He's just in the loaded West. And when you give him a group of young guys like that, I think David Griffin did a great job. Again, I don't think this year they'll make the playoffs. I think it'll be a 10th, 9th seed. But I do like them. They're only going to get better from here. And the one knock I have on them is I'm not sold on Zion Williamson yet.
I'm the same. I'm with you there. I was just gonna mention we didn't really talk much about Zion, but I think other than
Like who would you compare him to? Like an NBA player?
you
Past.
really can't. I mean, the guy's a crazy physical specimen. I mean, we've never seen a guy 280 or 260 jumping 45 inches. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I just feel like he's gonna be injury. Any game could be a injury. So
in his last year of college, he literally busted out of his shoe, and he was benched for how many games?
It was like a
it
good
was
chunk
like-
of the season, like 10
I
or
think-
15.
I thought it was like 4 or 5. Thought he came back pretty quick.
You might
But
be.
I mean,
Why don't you look that
Yeah.
up for us, man?
Regardless, he busted out of his shoe, injured his knee. When you're like 6'7" and you're 290 pounds of all muscle, there's only a certain amount of time when you can be that physical and not get hurt.
See, but that's the problem. He's a tweener. He's 6'7". He's 290. He reminds me a little bit of Charles Barkley. I personally thought Charles Barkley was a lot more mobile. I think Zion Williamson needs to get some stretching in because the guy is just too stiff.
well, he can always. I think if it doesn't work out in the NBA, he can always go to the NFL. Pretty sure how all the teams would.
But
be
then what position would he play in there? Like O-line?
Linebacker.
He'd just be the defensive line.
I'm sure the Miami Dolphins could pick him up. You have a good point.
But I think with that, New Orleans will be probably a very, very popular team to watch.
Oh,
just
yeah.
because he's a highlight.
we'll watch
He's
him.
just a highlight
We'll
guy.
watch him.
Okay,
sure.
next team here, Minnesota Timberwolves.
Minnesota, huh? So, I don't know. Minnesota's a really weird team.
Wait, Minnesota or Memphis?
Oh, looks like we got Memphis. Minnesota's
Oh,
11.
did I skip over?
Memphis. Yeah.
Yeah, my bad.
So let's do Memphis first. Memphis, I love. If you think of Memphis basketball, you think of ugly, grit, and grind basketball. Marc Gasol, Mike Conley, Tony Allen, low scoring 90 to 85 games. And you look at their lineup, John Morant, who could easily be Rookie of the Year this year. Easily.
Yep.
Jaren Jackson Jr. was a stud last year. Dylan Brooks is a perfect 3-and-D guy. So is Kyle Anderson. And Valanciunas was quite the grab. Obviously, Andre Iguodala is probably not going to be in a Grizzlies jersey. But Jay Crowder, Brandon Clark, Tyus Jones, Grayson Allen, for crying out loud, the ugliest, most dirtiest player in the NBA is on this team. They're going to be tough to beat. Defensively, this is one of the best teams in the NBA. They're just young.
So you're saying playoffs?
Not even close to the playoffs. I'm just saying I think they win over 35 games this year.
Okay. See, I feel like this will be a team right with Phoenix. I feel like they'll be 15th. They will probably have the worst record, but I'll tell you this: Ja Morant, I've always been a fan of his back in college, and I think he will be Rookie of the Year.
Yeah,
End of season, he is just an all-around. I mean, I'd put him probably. I don't know. He reminds me. I mean, he's got
Russell.
Kobe Bryant. He's got Russell. He's got a
yeah.
little bit of everything. Every player.
He's just a stud, all-around stud, super athletic,
It's funny.
great defensively.
I feel like they're one of those teams that are bad record-wise, but every night they come and play.
Exactly.
But I do have them at the bottom.
The 15th?
15th. Only because I feel like teams will be able to pick them apart, be able to see and read what they're doing. Yeah, they have that amazing John Morant with their pick.
It's just gonna be one of those days. We're gonna be watching Portland Trailblazer games this year, and when it's time for Lillard to go into the grindhouse in Memphis, it's gonna be one of those trap games where you're like, ah, crap, what's gonna happen here?
Exactly.
That's almost every game they have with Memphis. They're just they're a defensive team, and they're tough.
But give them credit. The style that they have, they're going for, and they're keeping it.
Yeah, I mean, I had them on the 15th, but I don't think they're the worst team here. I think that title belongs to the Phoenix Suns.
I think they'll be fighting for that title with Phoenix.
Yeah. So I have them 15th, and they have that Iggy in their back pocket. They can trade him away for more picks and everything. And I feel like they're just gonna build, and maybe in 2 or 3 years they have a lot of potential, and they might be a powerhouse team.
I'd say they have a better young core right now than Phoenix.
Yeah,
for
they
sure.
do.
For sure.
All right, now we go to the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Okay. Talk about ugly off seasons. Your biggest pickups were Jordan Bell, Jake Layman, and nothing sexy there. You bring back pretty much the same team, and you're really banking on the fact that Andrew Wiggins gets better. Me personally, I don't believe that your center should be the best player on your team. Maybe if this was the early 2000s, 90s, but Karl Anthony Towns is a stud. Don't get me wrong. He's probably going to be my first pick in fantasy this year. I see them 10th, 11th. I don't see them.
I agree. I think they'll be around 11. I think they probably will have a little worse record than they did last year. That I don't see them
They don't
getting
really have
any
an
better.
identity.
They don't really have anybody. Yeah, I mean, you got Karl Anthony Towns. He's a beast, but Andrew Wiggins, I feel like he's overrated. Overpaid. Yeah, he just really hasn't done anything. Hey, they got Jake Layman though, from Portland.
I wish we would.
Yeah, that's my beef with
I actually like Jake Layman. Yeah.
He said nothing beautiful. Jake Layman's a beautiful man.
Well, I guess you can argue Dario Saric was a beautiful man, but they traded him away. I wish we would have kept Jake personally. I thought he would have been the perfect, 3-and-D guy at the small forward. I don't know if he's going to get much playing time in Minnesota, though. Behind Robert Covington, Andrew Wiggins, Jarrett Culver.
I think he'll have probably same thing as he did in Portland, just kind of in and out of the lineup and play a little bit here and there.
Well, where do you have them ranked, though?
I'd say 10th.
10th?
I'd say 11th.
I have them 12th. And, I mean, they picked up Jarrett Culver. I don't know if they're going to get any production out of him this season, but, that's something that they can work on and grind and develop a player with him. And then they got Jordan Bell. They still have Karl Anthony Towns, and sure Andrew Wiggins is kind of, some call him a bust
I
right
still
now.
think he'll improve.
Yeah,
the guy's young.
He's a mixed bag. I'm sure eventually he'll develop, and maybe he won't be operating at that 100% level every night, but maybe 80%.
But if you remember at the beginning of last year, the Timberwolves were right there in the playoff race. They were competing.
They started off good, and then
injuries kind of happened. Towns got hurt. I don't think they're impressive, especially in the loaded West.
But if you look at this summer, there were so many teams that upgraded, so many teams that had many changes. You look at Minnesota's depth chart; it really didn't. I mean, they really didn't do much. I mean, a couple pickups, but really nothing big.
Do you know who did a lot of changes this offseason?
Who did?
The Lakers.
Yes.
The filthy Lakers.
They finished 10th in the West last year. Oh my god.
Oh man, I was wondering. I'm like, why are you mentioning Lakers? They're supposed to be way down there.
Okay,
but 37 wins. Okay, that's not bad. I mean, for
it was like
a
completely different team now. So,
but I think the only reason why they slipped that far down was injuries. LeBron didn't play more than 56 games. Brandon Ingram was out half the season. Lonzo Ball touched the ball maybe 4 times, and they just didn't have depth. They had Alex Caruso, the meme man himself.
The GOAT.
The people's choice.
So this is what LeBron's 18th season.
It's actually his 59th.
But I think this
right.
last year was his first season where he literally played less than 60 games in a season.
So I actually looked it up.
So,
it was 55.
55 games?
So
Wow.
I'm saying, less than 60 games in a season, and he's played for 15, 16 seasons. That's pretty impressive. And I think this year he's going to have a comeback season. I think he'll be putting 70, 75 games. And
you think they win a championship this year?
Ooh, that's tough. You know what? I think I'd have to put another LA team out there in front of them, but no, I don't. I don't say they win this year. I don't think they're deep enough.
I agree. Also, one thing that you look at their starting lineup: Rondo, Green, James, Davis, and some kind of mix of McGee and Howard. There's no shooting. There's no shooting there whatsoever. I guess you could say James, not terrible.
Danny Green can shoot.
He's a great shooter. Rondo can't shoot outside 15 feet. Shooting and injuries is going to be the biggest thing. We did mention Anthony Davis has never played over 65 games in a season. Yes, some of that's due to load management, but the guy can't. He gets poked in the eyes out 2 weeks.
Injury prone.
So I think they messed up big time trading away Ingram, Ball, Hart, and a huge array of picks. They have no cap space. DeMarcus Cousins got hurt. Kyle Kuzma's already hurt.
Mm-hmm.
He might not be back for start of the season. So the ship's already kind of in the loaded West. It's going to swallow you up.
Yeah, the West is so loaded. I think I don't see. I think LA needs to make a few more moves for them to win the championship, but I don't think it's going to be this year.
Yeah, I mean, they were the hottest team coming into the 2018-2019 season, and just injuries and all the rumors happening around the Lakers being trading for AD kind of demoralized the team, and basically they had no motivation going into the later half of the season.
Magic Johnson got fired. Started blaming people. People blame Magic Johnson. Worse than Kobe and Shaq.
I am excited for my favorite player on the Lakers, though, Alex Caruso.
Oh, man.
Love that guy.
Oh, did I say there was no shooting on that team?
Yeah.
Oh,
no, he's
bad.
a dunker.
But no, like if everyone on that team is healthy and they're running at 100%, they have to be 1 or 2. No question about it.
I don't think so.
Really?
I think Denver's deeper. I think the Clippers are deeper. I think Portland's deeper.
I'd put Lakers at 4.
Yeah.
I have them at 5th. I don't
Really?
think LeBron's gonna be healthy enough throughout the entire season. AD's gonna be sitting some games out due to injuries. Kyle Kuzma's already hurt. I think the injury bug happened in LA. There's case 0. I don't think it has ever left LA either.
Yeah, we'll see. Again, it's tough to talk about injuries because you don't know what's going to happen. For all we know, Damian Lillard, God forbid, tears an ACL, is done for the year.
So we have Anthony Simons.
We could trade for Alex Caruso.
I think that's worth trading our young core.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The Lakers did.
Hey, I'll be a Blazer fan if Alex Caruso comes over.
It's funny because we have the team with the most news and buzz about them, and the very next team, Sacramento Kings, the least amount of buzz.
And barely missed the playoffs.
Barely missed the playoffs. Yeah, that's right.
So what do you think about the Kings, Roman?
So every year there's usually a team that will surprise you, and that was, I think, Sacramento last year. I never expected them to be that good last year, and they really, I think, were better than what their record was. So, and I think a big part of it was, again, I think De'Aaron Fox is give him another year or two and he'll be at that elite
All-star level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that guy is unreal. Probably the fastest NBA player. And I think he's going to be their leader. I don't know about the rest of their roster. I don't see any big names. Marvin Bagley, he's still a young guy, and I think he'll be getting really good. But I think they're just still too young. I think they actually will probably be at the same record again. A couple wins, maybe more. 9th, yeah. They'll be just outside of the playoffs.
So what I wrote down here when I was doing my research, I said the biggest thing to ever happen in Sacramento is the feud that Damian Lillard had with Marvin Bagley. That was the most interesting thing that
over
happened.
the summer. Yeah, the diss track.
I don't think
Lillard
won that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. He beat Shaq too, if we're gonna go on the record. Shaq got absolutely destroyed.
It's funny, Shaq hasn't said anything back.
I wonder if they actually mean it. You think they're salty at each other?
No, because I think today Lillard was saying that he's pretty much Shaq dissed him. He dissed Shaq.
A disser, a kisser, not a disser, are the exact words he used. Which is what Ben calls me sometimes. A kisser, not a disser.
You love to throw out those uninvited kisses.
Okay. Next up. See, that's exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about the Kings, and we can't even stay on topic about the Kings because the Kings are that boring.
It is a
Okay, so Fox healed. That's a really good 1-2 punch. I think getting on that Harrison Barnes train was a terrible idea. Terrible contract. Not enough value. Should have waited for Draymond Green to pop around this summer. They didn't. I think they're gonna pay for it this year in a loaded West.
It doesn't even matter. Green signed that contract.
He did. He signed it with the Warriors. That's correct.
So we can all agree Kings out of the playoffs.
I don't think they make it.
Yeah.
I do think 9th or 10th.
9th, 10th.
No. You
Luke
guys have them way
Walton
too
is
high.
a great addition for the Kings.
I have them at 13th. I don't think
You know,
they developed too much with their players and anything. I think they're not a bad team.
They could be all the way to 13, yeah,
But we have to remember, last year there was like 2 or 3 games that separated 9 and 5th.
Yeah.
So sure they can be 13th, and a normal person would be like, "Hey, that's terrible, 15 out of 13."
Right. But still be the 9th pick because the East is so trash.
Exactly.
That is correct.
I think
Duke men's basketball could be the Charlotte Hornets this year. I can't wait to
Yeah.
talk about Charlotte.
Oh, they're going to be good.
I can't wait not to talk about the Charlotte. Okay, the other big blockbuster news story was the Clippers. They still have Doc Rivers there. They basically kept the entire team. No, I'm sorry. I take that back. They kept most of their bench, but they got rid of a lot of, like, they got rid of Shea. They got rid of Danilo Gallinari. They lost Wilson Chandler and Gary Temple.
I mean, I think Roman and I can both sit here and say the Clippers are definitely the favorite to win the championship this year. Could you imagine? Okay, so we're watching a Blazer game, right? First week, Damian Lillard's on the offense. Switches, Patrick Beverley's guarding him. Switches again, Kawhi Leonard's guarding you. Switch one more time, it's Paul George. Switch one more time, it's Montrezl Harrell.
Yikes.
That's tough.
That sounds scary.
That's tough. And these guys all play 48 minutes hard nonstop basketball. This is Kawhi's team.
It's definitely his team, built around
This
him.
is Toronto on steroids.
So what's crazy is that last year, I don't think there's anybody that could have guessed that they would be, this good without Paul George and Kawhi, and now they get 2 top 10 players in the NBA.
Yeah.
And then add another defensive guy like Maurice Harkless. I mean, this team is stacked. You can't. There's really. I mean,
Lou Williams off the
They
bench.
got-
Oh my goodness.
they got a really stacked team, and I'm pretty sure this is by far the favorite to win. And I see them.
And they could. Paul George is hurt. We do have to mention that he's out till at least Thanksgiving is what they're saying.
Yeah, mid-November.
So they're not going to rush him back. Kawhi's probably not going to do load management at that time. The second Paul George is back, that's when they'll put him on that load management. But that's exactly the point. You don't have to rush Paul George back. You don't have to rush Kawhi into anything. You have Lou Williams getting you buckets. Montrezl Harrell looked fantastic.
Landry's
Shamet.
second-year player. He's gonna be.
Zubac
good.
was good last year too.
Well, did the Clippers with no All-Stars take the Golden State Warriors to Game 6 in the
Yeah,
playoffs?
they did. They
Now,
won 2 games in Golden State, just couldn't win one in LA.
yeah, and so they have that same group for the most part, but they have better players. They have 2 All-Stars,
2 superstars,
exactly,
and then
Paul George and Kawhi Leonard.
I just want Doc Rivers to finally win a championship and finally shut up about the 2008 Boston
Yeah.
Celtics.
with
because
Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce. Yeah.
That team was in one of the worst NBA eras. You had Kobe, who was hurt that year, and, well, no one else. You had LeBron James on the Cavs, and LeBron James on the Cavs. That's it. So he needs one.
they'll be number 1.
Yeah, I'd put him at number 1.
You know who's the number 1 most consistent playoff team?
That would be my Spurs.
The Spurs is
The Spurs. So the Spurs are kind of interesting. I think they're another one of those examples where not a lot happened with them.
which is perfect.
Yeah, but they didn't have Murray the entire year, so he's back now.
Who was supposed to have a breakout year?
Yeah, I love DeJounte Murray. This roster, just looking over it, is a perfect San Antonio Spurs
Yep.
roster.
And I think once again they'll be consistent to where they make the playoffs.
Even drafting guys like Keldon Johnson, out of Kentucky, Luka Samanic, these guys, not the biggest names. You kind of have to be a little bit of a junkie to know who Luka Samanic was.
But you look at those names, you're like,
I'll be
these
honest,
aren't bad.
that's the first time I heard that. Luka Samanic, I don't know who that
Wait,
is.
which Luka is this? Doncic or Samanic?
Yeah.
Is it a Seth or Steph?
Exactly. But, LaMarcus, Rudy Gay, DeMar DeRozan, Brian Forbes, Murray, that is a
Really
solid
good
lineup.
starting
But
lineup.
let's not forget, there's Derek White and Rudy Gay, who went
Yeah.
off at the end of the season.
Trey Lyles was a great pickup for him. Lonnie Walker, they're expecting huge things out of him. Had a crazy good summer league.
Oh man, I didn't even see Derek White backup point
Derek
guard.
White.
Wow,
Patty
that's-
Mills is
that's
still there,
crazy.
yeah. So this is gonna be a tough team to play. I have them in the top 6.
I have them at
I think they'll be better than the
I
Warriors.
would give them a 7 seed.
I have them at 8.
8.
Yeah, I feel like they are a good team, but I feel like with Popovich being in the league so long, we kind of know what he's gonna be doing. He's trying to add shooters. LaMarcus Aldridge is kind of getting old.
Right, but I think they're more deep than the Golden State Warriors. They're definitely better than Sacramento. I wouldn't put them up with Houston, the Clippers, Portland. They'll be right there.
Yeah,
with
they'll
Portland.
be between 6 and 8. I think that's where they'll be.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
just the West is so stacked. It's hard to.
But that's a team you do not want to see in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I said, between 4 to 13,
Yeah.
it might be like 2 or 3 games.
Yeah, which is not a knock on anyone for sure.
All right. Next is Oklahoma City.
Ooh, this is a rough spot.
Oh man, I forgot about this team.
Well, okay, never mind. I just
Well,
took a look
before
at the
we jump
roster.
in, this was my team to hate in 2018, 2019.
Oh,
So-
we hated. So one thing about us is we are passionate Blazer fans, not biased Blazer fans, passionate Blazer fans. So when Damian Lillard hit
And
that
we
game
don't
winner,
curse.
we do not curse either. Thank you, Roman, for pointing that out.
They're more kosher than the Quakers.
But Oklahoma City, I don't think I've ever hated a town so much as I did that first round series.
You know
I think
what?
we almost threw chairs off your balcony when we
Yeah.
watched that game, didn't we?
Yeah, I think I have a crack in my TV, but
That was Ruben. That was
Yeah, I
Ruben and
think that was
Ben.
Ruben.
Let's blame it on
Okay,
them.
but in all fairness, it's not like I hate everyone on that team. I love Steven Adams. I think Dennis Schroeder's a pretty good guy.
Oh, come on. Dennis Schroeder is okay, I won't say it.
he
but
is not a good guy.
he could use a humble Kendrick Lamar song to get him on the right track. I will put it that way.
Was that last year in the playoffs when he was doing a bunch of like
Yeah, he was, like,
taunts
flexing
at-
on Lillard.
Lillard
Yeah,
Doing
he
the
stuff,
made
baby.
one
and-
3-pointer where he like did something and he was like doing the time.
Yeah,
live
yeah,
stream.
he
And
made
then they
one
lost the
three,
game.
Yeah.
I think that stemmed from.
Scrub.
I think that stemmed from Westbrook. I think with him gone, he'll be like, "Oh shoot, we're a crappy team."
See, but Chris Paul isn't the greatest of guys either. The guy's kind of a jerk. You guys saw that Vine a couple years ago when he's all laughing with Steve Kerr, and they're laughing, and then as soon as he turns around, straight face, cursing out Steve Kerr. I mean, the guy's, I don't know. I never liked Chris Paul either.
Me either. But I think my main hatred stemmed from Westbrook. The way that he acted so cocky, saying, "Oh, I always busted Damian Lillard up and everything." Dude shot at 29% from the field.
Which is terrible.
Terrible. And he's a point guard.
Yeah. Clunked 4 game winners at the end to beat the Blazers there, and then got clunked by Lillard at the very end.
My literal note says he threw so many bricks in that playoff series, he built a Costco. That's literally
Oh,
what
man.
this dude accomplished.
So, I mean,
Costco employee
Sam
of the month.
Presti is a great general manager. The one thing he did do really well is get like 8 first round picks until 2024, which
They're
that's
set up for the
nuts.
future. Yeah, I mean they'll have a lot of.
Chris Paul they'll eventually get rid of. Gilgeous Alexander they'll keep. Gallinari, Steven Adams, Nerlens Noel. These guys will kind of keep them, kind of good. I see them at 13th, man, like 13, 14.
Yeah, I don't have them too high. I have them at the 11th. What were you going to say?
I don't have an exact spot, but I'd say anywhere from 10 to 15.
Yeah.
Another-
Just somewhere around there.
Another thing I really want to mention was Chris Paul coming to that town. A lot of people say, hey, that might be a good change of direction for them. Yeah, Chris Paul still can hoop, but last 4 years, I think he played on average 60 games. I think
Who's hurt?
Yeah, 4 years ago he played 74, then dropped down to 65, then 58, and 58. So he's not healthy, and you're paying him that massive
I'm
contract.
surprised that he really didn't say anything about being traded to a playoff team because you kind of look, he's in the end of his playing career. You would think he'd be one
Right.
on a playoff team, and
But
then
that contract he
just
signed is absolutely awful.
yeah. I'm surprised he hasn't really said anything about or demanding a trade or
So
anything.
this guy's getting paid Damian Lillard money. So for a team to take him on, there was rumors about the Heat pairing him with Jimmy Butler, which would be a decent team in the
Well,
East.
why have Chris Paul on the Heat when you have a superstar point guard in Justin Winslow?
Well, that's I don't know why you would ever start him a point guard, but again, we'll get to
He's
the
a power
East.
forward.
We'll get to the East.
Power forward point guard.
It was news to the Heat management too when he said that.
Yeah.
Best case scenario for this year for OKC, you tank, you try to get rid of Chris Paul for some picks, and hopefully you get a LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards, something to build around.
All right. The next team is my second favorite team to hate, Houston Rockets.
And this will be a really good team. I think they pretty much got everybody back, and then now they're
Oh, you know what?
they
I'm
added
sorry. I jumped the gun. I was like, I hate the OKC. I hate the Rockets. I was just going down my list now. But actually, it's the Utah Jazz. They're in fifth.
okay.
Utah. So I think this is the most overrated team. Honestly, I think they're heavily overrated.
See, I disagree. I think they're gonna be
So Mike
really
Conley has been hurt for the past 2 years nonstop. Joe Ingles, Toby from The Office, is not going to win them basketball games.
He's a
Mitchell,
stud.
a stud in The Office, but I just don't see it. Okay, they're deep, they're loaded, they're not going to beat the Clippers in a playoff series. I don't know. I think Rudy Gobert is not the greatest of centers either. Great defensively, best defensive center in the NBA. Doesn't really provide numbers for you. But on one hand, at the same time, Mike Conley and Rudy Gobert going around pick and rolls all day, that's kind of scary. Maybe I'm just saying that because I don't want the Blazers to
See,
play
I
them
disagree. I think they'll be a really tough team again. I think they were 6th, 7th seed last year.
Fifth.
Fifth. Yeah.
5th. So I think they'll be again with the loaded West. They'll probably drop a couple spots, but 6th, 7th.
But look
I
who they
see them.
lost. You lost Rubio. You lost Favors. You lost.
Yeah, but
Korver
I
and
think you
Crowder.
upgraded though with Mike Conley. I know he's injury, but I feel like they upgraded in that department.
Yes, and I think Bogdanovich is a better player than Kyle Korver.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think
Emmanuel
so.
Mudiay is a great backup point guard. I thought he was really good in New York.
So
Jeff
I don't know
Green.
if there's a typo or something, but has anyone heard of a name Mayeli Oni?
Yeah, Yale.
Yeah.
Yale, yes.
Yeah, interesting. I've
Rookie.
never heard.
I
of
just thought you fell asleep at the keyboard.
No. Miel,
like,
he
man,
was
how
a
do you know
hooper
this
at
guy?
Yale. They beat Duke, if I'm correct. This guy was good.
You're a sweaty basketball nerd.
I am a sweaty basketball nerd. I'm also a sweaty football nerd. I'm also just a sweaty nerd, if you enjoy that as well.
See, I think the Jazz might be a dark horse.
For the NBA championship?
No. Just like a team hard to beat.
They're gonna be good, I think.
Yeah, they're gonna be good. I think with Mike Conley and Bogdan, them adding on to the team adds a lot of depth to them. And then with Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert playing some of the best games they have ever played.
They definitely have 5 guys out there at all times who are going to be able to score the basketball and play defense. And their coach, Quinn Snyder, I think he's a top 5 coach in the NBA.
The important part is that Rudy Gobert doesn't get snubbed again with the All-Star game.
So he cries.
Because if
That's not
cries,
happening again.
if he cries again, I might cry with him.
A Frenchman crying is your
Again,
dream,
but
isn't it?
here's he could get snuffed again. Look how loaded the West is. If you take how many guys now on the West,
Dwight Howard is making
the
the All-Star game this year. Don't at me when it happens.
All right, now we can move on to the
Well,
Houston
Hassan
Rockets.
Whiteside and Zach Collins are making the
yeah.
All-Star team.
Oh, yeah.
So how many centers can they have?
Again, we're not biased about the Blazers. We're just passionate. All right, who do we got next here?
Houston Rockets, my second favorite team to hate.
But no, in all seriousness, I think Utah is going to be a top 5 team.
No, dude, no way.
You don't think?
No, dude, there's
No, I think
You
they'll.
don't think Utah is going to be a top 5
think
team
they'll
in the
drop.
West?
They'll drop to 6, 7.
I just
somewhere
started
around there.
bashing Utah, and I think they might do better than Portland.
Well, you were
think they might do
bashing them.
better
I
than-
thought they were going to be out
Well,
of the
then
playoffs.
you're a little bit less passionate than we are.
I don't know. This team could contend
So
and make the
if
Western
you
Conference.
you're putting, I mean, you got Denver, both the LA teams, Houston, and then you got
Utah.
Jazz.
I'd put them ahead
Wow.
of
So
Portland.
you'd hit. Wow.
I mean, okay, maybe with this answer you can change my mind. But what does Utah do better than Portland?
They're deeper. They're more experienced. They're just a scary team to play. So you're saying if this Portland Utah in the finals, you wouldn't sweat a little bit for that?
Oh no,
series?
I'm sweating the entire time. I think it's like a razor thin margin.
Again, this is to the point where numbers, 1 through 13 might be all 4 games apart.
Yeah.
we don't know what's going to happen. It's really
And
tough to predict the
It could
West.
come down to tiebreakers like last year did. But I think with Zach Collins, I think he's gonna have a breakout year.
How about this? We'll wait for Portland because we can break these guys
Okay,
down.
okay,
a
all
little
right.
bit.
Houston Rockets.
Next. All right, Roman, I want to hear what you actually think about the Rockets here and on tape.
So, I think Houston will be top 3.
Dear Lord, I'm
And
done.
I know you think Russell Westbrook needs the ball, James Harden needs the ball. I think they're gonna click back like in Oklahoma City, and I think they will be top 3 team in the Western Conference, and they will probably make it to the Western Conference Finals.
I want you to look at their bench right now, and unless Austin Rivers, Gerald Green, Tyson Chandler back from the dead.
I don't have to look too far. They got James Harden and Russell Westbrook, Clint Capella. Eric Gordon, PJ Tucker.
Okay.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
with James Harden and Russell Westbrook alone, they could probably get to the playoffs.
Well, James Harden didn't play all 48 minutes to carry that team.
Do you think James Harden should have won MVP last year?
Yeah.
Yes,
I agree. I don't think Giannis
100%.
should have touched it.
100%. James Harden should have had the MVP.
You know, you do upgrade. A lot of people are arguing that. It's funny because at the beginning of the summer, we're like, man, if they had a better point guard than Chris Paul, they might win the championship. And they got Russell Westbrook, which shocked a lot of people.
Downgrade. That's a downgrade for me.
You think that's a downgrade?
No.
Russell Westbrook, don't get me wrong, is a top 3 point guard.
You did hear that.
I think he fell out of top 5.
So what their plan is for this season is to have them play separate times. So they're gonna do a lot of every time James Harden is
Which
out,
is good.
Westbrook will
Gives
be in.
them
Which
rest.
they're both gonna be.
That's the only way they can do it.
Yeah,
Let's be honest.
and that means all 48 minutes of the game they're gonna have a dominating point guard.
And they're grown men. Figure it out. There's one ball. Play with it. You don't have to go Antonio Brown and throw a fit. You know, it's looking at this team right now, I can totally see myself at the end of the year watching ESPN, and all of a sudden you see Russell Westbrook, James Harden, one of the greatest duos of all time. James Harden is one of the most underrated players I've ever seen.
And Westbrook's in the prime of his career. Paul was, he was in the end of his career. I think they upgraded big time.
I'm shaking my head.
One.
No,
Okay, where do you place them at in the West?
Okay, I have them at the 3rd.
That's pretty high.
That's pretty high.
3rd. Yeah, that's what I
But
have.
I don't think they're a playoff built team. The reason why is when we look at the OKC game with Portland. Okay, if you look at Damian Lillard, he's not a defensive all-star. He's not. You can even say he's a bad defender.
Right.
Damian Lillard was guarding Westbrook the entire time. Westbrook shot around 30% during the playoffs. He was terrible during the playoffs. The only thing that he can do is explode down the court during transitions and then do a lay-in. There's nothing that Westbrook can do better than Chris Paul other than being explosive.
I think he's going to make up for it this year in the playoffs. I don't think he had a really bad playoff series against Portland. I think that was just one series.
Technically, he's never really had a good playoff series.
Yeah,
but he made the second most attempts at 3 this year, around 490, and he shot at 29% in the regular season. He's terrible at shooting. Had one of his worst.
And this is a shooting team.
Yeah, shooting team. One of the worst free throws seasons of his career. He's on his downward slope, and with any explosive player, they drop off so quickly. And if you don't have the skills to back yourself up, you don't have a long career. And I don't think he's a bad player. He can dunk on me every day, but with Chris Paul, he had that ability to shoot that 3 and have that threat. And when, let's say, James Harden and Westbrook is on the court, who's going to take that 3-point shot?
And we do know for a fact that if Chris Paul never got hurt in those Warriors series, they'd be a championship team right now. We do know that. They were up 3-1, up 10 points.
Yeah, I think they would have won that if Chris Paul doesn't get hurt.
So we'll see where they go with Westbrook.
I have them as listed at number 3, but I don't think they're a playoff
2 or
built
3.
team.
2 or 3.
I mean, they're going to be a high winning percentage team in the regular season, but playoffs come, I don't see them there.
I can't wait to watch George dunk all over Westbrook. Waste 3 years of his career in Oklahoma City. How could he?
All right, now we're going to get to the hometown team, the Trail Blazers.
Ooh, again, we're not biased, passionate.
This one's going to be tough.
So, I think Portland got better. Dame and CJ are in the prime of their career. You've had Dame come out and say things like, hey, it's championship or bust finally. It's time to put up or shut up. You know, there's no more superstar teams. There's no more, 3 all-stars to a team. You have 2 all-stars, Lillard and McCollum. It's that time to finally do it. You have the guys around you. You look at that. We just talked about Collins and Whiteside. That's scary. Kent Bazemore, Rodney Hood, Mario at the 3, Anthony Simons going to be a stud, and we're saying all this without Nurkic back.
And I actually think they do have a decent bench if they give Anthony minutes now. I think I've always said it when they drafted him. I thought he's gonna be good, and I think if he gets that playing time, we'll all see it. Rodney Hood's great backup.
He'll get better,
and then
too.
Hazonia as well. I mean, that's solid.
People are saying Hazonia's going to have a breakout year this year.
Yeah, so I mean, if they all get used, correctly, they'll be. I think they could.
Which
be
they
big
will. Terry
So-
Stotts is, I think he's the most underrated coach in the NBA. Really, to
I
make
agree.
the playoffs 5 years in a row with guys like Tim Frazier as your backup point guard, with guys like who's our center, Mason Plumlee, a guy who doesn't even start for the Nuggets anymore as your starting center, and to make the playoffs. I mean, come on.
Well, if you look at the bench, a lot of these guys are like first year or second year. Some of them, like Collins, was going to his third year. Gary Trent, Anthony Simons. We have Scal. Scal didn't play in the summer league, but Gary Trent did, and Anthony. They went off in the summer league. They were getting 30 points. They were doing amazing. And if them coming off the bench, sure, they're not as experienced or they're not veterans of the sport just yet. They have a lot of potential, and I feel like with them coming off, Portland might have one of the best benches coming into this 2019-2020 season.
I think Hassan Whiteside also will have a pretty big year.
He'll finally blossom here.
Yeah,
for
then
sure.
again, we'll get Yusuf probably end of the year, starting
People
to
love
play
it
more
here.
and
When
stuff.
they
so,
move here, they love it here.
and I know Damian said they want to win a championship. Like, it's going to be really tough, and as fans of Portland, I think we do want to see that, but it's going to be tough for them to get back to the Western Conference Finals.
If they're healthy, if they can manage to stay healthy, and I hope they can rest Lillard at times this season.
Which they need to if they want to get
For sure.
far again.
'Cause he gassed out.
He is being overplayed.
Well-
He plays too much.
We have the depth to do that now. We have Anthony Simons, who can play. We have CJ McCollum, who a couple times
Throw in
did.
Gary Trent.
Gary
Yeah.
Trent was the next one. Gary Trent was an awesome playmaker during the summer league.
I'm just going to remind everyone here, these guys blew up for 30 points apiece against the Kings last year.
I was at that game.
What?
It was huge.
Really?
Yeah, Anthony. It was watching Anthony. It was insane. I mean, that guy was.
How much did he have? He finished like
He
47?
37 points.
37.
And
That's
I think
right.
it was like 10 assists or something.
My favorite story about that is we were at your place, Vasiliy, and I don't know if I mentioned it on the podcast, but we go there, game's a complete blowout.
You literally came, showed up, ate the Busters. They're losing by 25.
Later, peace. Get home, check my phone, and so he's like, dude, turn on the game right now.
So it was like third quarter. I think they're down 20 plus. People started leaving. It was like half a stadium. I mean, empty. And then we were about to walk out and just decided to stay. And then it turned out to be probably the best, most exciting game of the year.
Wow.
Just unreal.
And then Scal was playing that game. He didn't play in the summer league due to an injured elbow, but that guy has a lot of potential.
He had
Oh,
a
yeah.
monster game there also, and he looked really good. I know he was playing. I know his last game of the year, but man, he looked good. If he gets enough playing time, I think he could produce as well.
I think the Blazers are deep. I think I'm going to say it, they're the deepest team besides the Denver Nuggets in the West. If they stay healthy, the ceiling's the limit. The ceiling's the limit. I just sound like Michael Jordan there. We'll see. Again, I don't want to be biased against the Blazers, but third seed, and we'll see where they go. I think they win a couple Western Conference games this year.
I have
Finals.
I have them at the 4th seed,
Okay.
only because it's so packed, and I can't not imagine not having home court advantage with them.
Yeah.
Being a passionate Trailblazers fan, but one of the biggest gripes was that we had Emilio Harkless, who you can say were good defensive players, but we got rid of them, and we have okay defenders. You can even say we have some decent defenders, but our offensive capability has gone through the roof.
We have 5 guys on the court who can score at will or anytime they want to. Aminu couldn't score a basket to save his life at times.
I mean, he's hitting that corner 3, chucking bricks, hitting the backboard.
Hitting backboards. Do you guys remember that one game against the Nets? And this isn't to gripe about Aminu. Actually, it is. It is. We had to watch Aminu for 4 years. When Nurkic broke his leg, against the Nets. They went to overtime. And McCollum had this nice move, got to the hoop, throws it right to Aminu, and it clobbers his chest and out of bounds. And the Nets go down, score a bucket. Lillard goes down, scores a 3. We win the game.
I think that might have been Damian Lillard who chucked it at his chest, and it bounced between his feet, and he looked like it was the first time he ever saw a ball.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I have way too many nice things to say about Aminu, so I'll just kind of leave it at that.
Yeah, let's. He's a nice guy. I'm sure he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Orlando's a nice place for nice guys.
That's a good spot for him.
All right, who do we got? Second, right?
Yeah, we have the Denver Nuggets.
Oh boy, that's a loaded team.
I'll tell you what, Michael Porter Jr.
Ooh,
That is, let me just say, a poor man's version of Kevin Durant.
yeah.
And I think if he stays healthy, we will be watching another really, really probably all-star coming up in the next couple years. I mean, I watched just some of his, late highlights, and that kid is gonna be
He was
good.
supposed to be the number 1 pick.
What happened? What was his injury? It was
Back.
Back. Oh.
Spine. So
Okay.
it was really weird. There was at times he couldn't touch his feet. He couldn't feel his feet. It was really scary.
Well,
there for a
didn't he
second.
play only a couple games in college and then just
Yeah,
one
he
and
played
done?
3
pretty much,
games for Missouri.
and that was it.
Which he had good stats. I'm pretty sure he put up like 22 and 10. For a college guy.
But that was it. Then he
Yeah.
went to the NBA. So, and then again, first year, and he sits out the whole year. So it's gonna be interesting to see
If
what he
this
can
is
do.
a big if, but if Michael Porter Jr. comes out and is really supposed to be that number 1 pick potential, that Kevin Durant potential, and he plays like that this year, there's no reason they
Denver-
should not win a championship.
Denver will be right there, I think.
I'm a
with,
little bit more of a pessimist because whenever someone says neck or head injury or back injury, that's a lingering issue. That doesn't
Yeah.
go away easily. A
For
lot
sure.
of times you're fighting that,
But these are NBA guys. They have world-class doctors, world-class trainers.
but they're playing at a world-class level.
Yeah.
So a normal guy can play like a 30-minute hoop game, but these guys are doing it 3, sometimes 4 times a week, and then with practice as well. I'm a little bit iffy on Michael Porter Jr., but he might be that guy. I'm not gonna hate on him, but I feel like the Denver almost had no news. They picked Jeremiah Grant.
Which is a big-time move, I think, personally, because Paul Millsap was their biggest weakness, getting a little older. So you pick up the Oklahoma Thunder starting power forward, Jeremy Grant. I mean, come on, that's good.
That was a good move, and they picked up Bol, one of the biggest steals of the draft.
Yeah.
I'd have
maybe.
to say, looking now at their roster, I'd probably put them as the deepest and the most stacked from top to bottom
Michael
out of
Beasley,
any
Torrey
NBA
Craig.
rosters. I mean, you look at all their bench players or second guys coming in. It's almost another starting team.
Sorry, they could
So,
beat the Hornets.
I mean, I'm gonna take this. I'll probably put them number 1. I now seeing their roster, I'd probably take them over LA.
I have them as number 1 too.
Yeah,
but I don't think
I'd
they're.
agree.
I don't think they're gonna win any
The championship.
And the reason why is because the 2 guys they need the most production from, Jamal Murray and Gary Harris, injured all the time. They always have calf problems. They always have groin problems, and if they cannot stay healthy, like they did not during the playoffs with the Blazers, they can't win. The reason why the Blazers won was not because Blazers outplayed the Denver Nuggets. It's because Gary Harris was injured. He had a stiff calf. He couldn't get it to release. If Gary Harris was on the floor playing all the minutes, I don't think that would have been a decisive.
Maybe. But you have to remember, they struggled with the Spurs too, which is a tough draw to face in the playoffs. They went to 7 games with the Spurs, 7 games with the Blazers. Not what they wanted to. So they really have to improve because that team is way better than that. And again, I don't think your center has to be the best player on the team. Nikola Jokic is a great player. Terrible athlete, but a great player.
What happens
We'll
when he
see.
gets off the floor? The plus minus shoots down.
It does.
And Nikola Jokic, as a phenomenal.
Jamal Murray and Gary Harris need to prove really a lot this year. It's kind of like a Devin Booker situation with them. They're getting max money, now prove it.
Yeah, they're at that point now where I think they're getting into 4th, 5th years, and I think this is where they establish themselves as.
For sure. But I see this team giving the Clippers trouble.
So,
for sure.
where do you see them in the Western Conference
1 or 2.
Finals?
I have them as number. Oh, Western Conference.
Yeah,
Finals.
like where do you see them? Because you're just saying they're not a playoff. You're looking Western Conference Finals. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I think they might go. I mean, for sure they can get past the first round, second round, depending on who they matched up with. They could be Western Conference Finals, but I don't see them winning the conference at all.
I mean, they did get far in the playoffs this past year, and I think they got more experience, same team. So I think they should be. I think they'll be probably in the. Man, looking at this team, they could be in the finals.
I think it's championship or bust.
Yeah,
for sure.
All right. Now, one of the most dominant teams in recent NBA history, the Golden State Warriors. They lost a lot of key players. They lost Kevin Durant. They lost Clay to injury, still on the team. They lost Andre Iguodala, Marcus Cousins. John Livingston retired. Jordan Bell and Quinn Cook are now off the team. The only pickups they had was D'Angelo Russell, Willie Cauley-Stein, and Alec Burks.
Yeah, I feel for the Warriors. I really wanted them to win more than 3 championships in the past 5 years. I really wanted a team out there that would have been as good as the 90s Bulls, stats-wise, to go 6 for 6 to win those championships. Man, it sucks. Obviously, losing Kevin Durant, there's no recovery from that, no matter who you get. Andre,
but don't forget, they did win without Kevin Durant. If you look, a similar team.
They had
Klay Thompson is hurt.
Yeah, but I'm saying once Klay Thompson's back, they have Draymond Green and Steph Curry.
Yeah.
It's still going to be a similar team to the one that won.
My take is if they can somehow manage, because remember, no Thompson, Cauley-Stein is hurt right now. He's not going to be playing at the beginning
he
of
has
the
a
year.
high ankle sprain.
Exactly.
And usually with high ankle sprains, you're out for a little bit longer.
I think if they make the playoffs, if they can tread water long enough to make the playoffs to get those guys back, and D'Angelo Russell and Steph Curry in the same backcourt,
that's going to be good.
Oh, man. They could beat the Clippers. I genuinely, you cannot count out Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and Draymond Green ever.
I think Steph Curry will probably be top 2 in MVP voting. I think he might even be winning the MVP. I think this year, with Thompson out for a long time, he really has nobody in his way. I think he will be putting up ridiculous numbers and have another one of those MVP type.
Who's on their bench, though?
Yeah, well,
there we go.
When have the Warriors ever had a good bench, though? That's the thing here.
Well, okay, my argument would be Steph Curry, he's coming on 31, 32.
He is, yeah.
And every season he's been playing less and less. He's been more and more injured. I think last year was the only year that he had an uptick in injury. And they lost a whole bunch of people. They lost KD, they traded Iggy, and they lost Cousins. Those were all guys they would have in there for Steph or KD when one of them was out.
Right.
They would always have an all-star in playing with the bench players to make sure that they weren't getting blown out.
Yeah, and I think Iggy is probably their biggest loss because he's a playoff when it comes to playoff time. He's one of their. I mean, he did win a playoffs or
MVP.
I think finals MVP, which is crazy, a bench guy. But yeah, losing that and then Livingston retiring. They lost some key players.
Well, it sucks. You possibly had one of the best teams of all time last year,
But Golden
and you
State
didn't
Warriors,
win the championship.
Golden State Warriors, I think they're the bottom of pick and rolls committed by the team. But they pick up D'Lo and they pick up Willie. Both guys are known for their pick and roll. So I think Steve Kerr is going to go that way, and teams know how to defend that. It just depends how good you are.
And still watch out. Maybe they pick up a Carmelo Anthony. Maybe they pick up someone like that who could help them on offense. Not so much defense.
We can do Carmelo watch?
Oh, we are going to do a Carmelo watch.
So you still think he's going to get picked up and play this year?
No.
I think so.
I honestly, I'd like to see him play.
I would.
I
I
like
wish
to see him
Portland
play.
would have picked him up.
Yeah, I wish Portland picked him up.
Damian does not want him. He does not want him at all.
After what happened
I
to
think he's
Houston.
been rejected too many times.
Yeah, I see the Warriors. I think they do make the playoffs as a 7th or 8th seed. You just can't count out Steph Curry, not yet. And say Thompson does come back at the All-Star game and they're not in the playoffs, they can make a run for it.
Yeah, I have them sitting at 6. I think Klay Thompson will come back. He's going to be the glue to pull in Draymond Green and Steph Curry.
These guys are Hall of Famers.
Yeah, they're Hall of Famers.
In their prime.
Mhm.
Period.
Yeah, I think they'll be 4 or 5 seed. And that's because D'Angelo, man. I think he's going to be even better this year. And
He's only 23.
He's going to...
And the Lakers traded that away.
They're not... getting much worse. I mean, yeah, they lost KD, but Russell is just, I think he's one heck of a player. So.
And Kevon Looney played great in the finals last year until he got hurt, and Glenn Robinson was a good pickup as well. So I don't think they're missing a beat quite yet. Obviously, losing Kevin Durant hurts.
They are older.
I think you have to look at it that they have 0.5 of Clay though. He's gone for almost that entire season.
Yeah, well, hopefully.
I think they said till after the All-Star break.
Yeah, at least.
Oh,
At
so
least.
that's quite a bit.
So we'll see. But Russell, Curry, that's still a good 1-2 punch.
Yeah, we'll see. But basically, that's our recap of the Western Conference Finals. I think next week we're going to do the Eastern Conference.
Yes, the Eastern Conference. That should go a little quicker because there's like 80 teams less to talk about. I think there's only one contender there.
Is that the Charlotte Hornets?
The 76ers, I think.
76ers and the Bucks, I'd say.
Oh, the
Bucks are
Bucks.
going to be.
I forgot about Giannis. That's right.
And don't forget about Toronto. I think even though losing Kawhi, they're still going to be pretty good team. They pretty much
To
kept
be
all
honest,
their-
I kind of forgot a little bit there that Canada still existed. So
Yeah.
thank you for reminding me.
And then there's the Celtics as
Hey,
well. They're always a wild card.
Come on, you
but-
can't forget they're the current champs.
The current champs, for sure.
All right, I think that's basically it.
Yeah, that should wrap it up.
Thanks for joining us, Roman.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for
having
joining
me,
us,
and
man.
it was a blast. Go follow Gym Bag Talks, guys. It's only going to get better.
Oh, yeah.
A lot better. Thanks, guys.